The Look Alive podcast is sponsored by Sonic.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Look Alive podcast from my living room. Yeah, we're still here and seemingly probably going to be here for quite a long time. But the good news is I have been seriously quarantining, and I hope that you guys do as well. I think the most that I do around other people is look at them from my balcony. No, I'm kidding. I do get outside. I run a lot. I think that's really important. I've actually been working out a lot more now than I did before, which is kind of ironic. Hopefully you guys are all well and staying safe and doing the right thing so that we can all get back to a normal life as soon as humanly possible, and also so that we can have sports. I miss them terribly. Watching marbles isn't going to cut it for me. I know you guys are entertained by that, but I don't really think it's exciting. Sorry for those of you that like the marble racing. So anyways, it has actually been kind of busy in the sports world, relatively, I guess, even though we don't have any sports. We've been trying to give you guys as much access to these athletes as humanly possible. They're in the same boat as you. They are doing interviews from their houses. They are binge eating everything in their cabinets. They're trying to find new ways to work out. They're doing those ab and arm workouts in their living room just like you guys are at home. So in some ways, we are all athletes at this time. No, it's been great to catch up with a lot of these guys that have a really good perspective on a lot of this stuff. But the one person that I thought really opened my eyes to what our world could potentially look like in a couple months, at least an athlete that's been really transparent about that, was a guy I just talked to, Wil Lutz. He is the kicker for the New Orleans Saints, and you guys know him because he is a Georgia State Panther. He also is from Noonan, so he is a native of this state, and he loves the state of Georgia so much so that he actually was a Falcons fan growing up. I know, weird, because he plays for the Saints now. He'll talk about that. And if his parents are still Falcons fans or Saints fans, talks about that as well. Now, he's just been killing it in New Orleans. He had a record-setting season in 2019, probably why he's the highest paid kicker in NFL history. He hit 32 field goals on 36 attempts. He's been crushing it, doing a great job down there in New Orleans. Him and his fiance love it there. They've really kind of adapted themselves into the New Orleans lifestyle. And he was really great to visit with, and I know you guys will enjoy it too. So take a listen. All right, first of all, how's quarantine going for you?
I guess it's about as good as it can. It's tough not being able to train like normal, and me and my still fiance are, kind of stuck staring at each other for a while.
I guess that really helps. It prepares you for marriage. You guys have to literally share the same space 24/7.
Yeah, absolutely.
What have you guys done for fun?
Well, fortunately, my hobby is golf, so being quarantined on the golf course is fairly easy. But it's really, we have a couple close friends in New Orleans that we'll still hang out with them. We just, the minute we hang out with someone else, we won't allow each other to hang, because, you want to be smart with, knowing who you're hanging around and where they've been around. So we've been able to hang around a few friends, but really we've done some backyard training, some living room training. It's like, doing as much as we can. Okay, take me through this living room training. What does that look like? Well, my fiance does spin classes, bounce classes, post classes. She's an instructor, so she does a lot of like live streaming fitness. So she's kind of put me through a few circuits that she's used in her classes, and I tell you, it's not easy. Do you take the class just off to the side? Well, she'll like test run it with you on me. Yeah, and so she'll have it'll be like 3 stations, and you got to go through them 3 times each. And it's way harder than I've ever expected it to be. So basically, if you're out of breath and you're having a hard time, she does that one. Yeah, she's definitely my hardest trainer. Okay. To work with. Are you guys super competitive with one another? Yeah, I think most of our arguments come with working out. Working out or sports related, or even like board games. She was a college soccer player, so it definitely runs in the family. Who wins more? Well, the competitive side of me is going to say me. But you're not going to admit her? but we don't let either of us win. But she's gotten pretty good at some of these board games we play, so she kind of takes it in the board games.
I'm sure, especially in quarantine, you guys are both getting very good at board games.
Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite quarantine snack right now?
Pita chips and hummus.
Okay, so you're healthy.
We have been going through hummus probably more than water.
Wow.
That's like our guilty pleasure.
Is it just any flavor?
I like garlic, like the garlic, roasted garlic, the original hummus, avocado hummus. I'm not a big like pine nut fan or any type of beans. So kind of like the Mexican hummus.
Okay, so you're really not picky when it comes to hummus.
Not at all.
Okay, let's talk about football for a second because, I mean, you had a phenomenal year. You had a record-breaking year. In a year that special teams was very important to the Saints' success. What did this year mean to you, and how proud were you of the way that things went?
One thing I've always said when it comes to being a specialist, the most gratifying thing is when, obviously I want to break records. I want to set personal goals. But at the end of the day, I want to help the team win. So if that calls for only making one field goal or making 5 field goals or just kicking touchbacks, and if whatever I can do helps the team win, then I'm happy. Selfishly, it's hard when you don't have a good game and the team wins. It's hard to be happy. But at the end of the day, I think the punter, the kicker, the snapper, our job is to do whatever we can to help the team win. And I think the 3 of us did a pretty good job at that this year.
Do you have a game that sticks out in your mind from this past season?
Well, it's hard to not think about the Monday night opener.
Yep.
That was definitely probably my number one career highlight. And then, the Cowboys game, we won on 4 field goals. I think the final score was 12-9 or something like that. And I think that just shows the versatility of the game these days, how it can turn in. I think the Monday night game was like a 48-point game, and that game was a 12-point game. So it just shows the versatility of the NFL and the different ways to win.
At this point in your career, do you still get nervous at all?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a different kind of nervous. I mean, I've learned to channel it. I've learned to use it as an advantage. But, I mean, I love the game of football. It's not just that I love kicking. I love the game of football. So I get nervous that it's more so that I'm out here living my dream, and I don't want to lose that. And so I get nervous in that aspect. But at the end of the day, I'm just there doing my job just like anyone else. And I think just as nervous as you get doing one of your reporting sets, it's the same for me.
Do you have one game where you're like, God, I wish I could take that one back?
Minnesota, the last game of the year, I missed a field goal going into half, and although it was early in the game, we lose that game by 3. We lose it in overtime, and obviously games change based off the score, so who knows if the outcome would have been the same. But
right.
That was one of those examples of I didn't feel like I helped the team win, and I felt like I played a part in a loss, and that was tough for me.
Does anyone on the team ever talk trash to you, whether it be in practice or during a game or on the sidelines or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you can never simulate a game. There's no such thing as simulating a game, but it's going through practice and, throwing as much, guys want to throw as much as they can at you just so you're ready for those moments. So I'm not going to say anyone talks trash. They like to have fun with it. And, Morstead and I, our punter, we kind of compete at kicking and punting just, because you want to keep the juices going. And that's kind of about as far as it goes. Every now and then Coach Payton will try to put some pressure on us, but, there's no more pressure than a game winner. So
you're a Georgia guy. Were you ever a Falcons fan growing up?
Oh, yeah. I was born and raised in south of Atlanta, so, my buddies give me a hard time. They'll send me a, rise up text every Atlanta week, and, it is what it is, but I've completely embraced the New Orleans culture of hating the Falcons. So,
Have you made your parents make that switch?
I mean, they do it because they're proud of me, but jokingly, like the first and second year, they'd wear black because it's neutral.
Oh, man.
But, I've been here long enough now that they've accepted the change, too.
You feel like you're ever going to come over to Atlanta like Todd Gurley did?
I can't speak on that. I think it would always be cool to play in front of your hometown, but I've fallen in love with the city of New Orleans and the culture here, the history, and it's just such a cool town to live in with Mardi Gras and just kind of how they celebrate, and it's my fiance and I love it here, and I don't plan on leaving anytime soon.
What's your favorite part of New Orleans? Is it the food? Please say the food.
Well, the food's amazing, but it's really the festivals. There's always something going on.
Yeah.
So with those festivals comes good food. So they kind of play hand in hand.
This is true. Okay, so I saw on your Instagram that you are now on a 40 under 40 list for Georgia State. Is this true?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Correct.
Okay, and I also saw some of your teammates with some very fun comments on these pictures. Talk about that a little bit.
Those pictures were definitely a little out of my comfort zone. Those were some of the angles are a little different than I normally post, but it's such an honor that I wasn't really concerned as far as the pictures, but I think those comments show that how close we are as a team. So I welcome those comments with open arms.
They just like to pick at you and make fun of you. It's fine.
Exactly. I'm the kicker.
So being a part of that list, especially for your alma mater, how cool is that for you?
It's really cool. Georgia State, I think, has a lot of people don't realize some of the big names that have come out of there as far as the acting industry, the business school, the law school. It's a pretty prestigious school, in my opinion, and they've proven that as well. And so just to be considered on that list was a pretty big honor when they called and told me.
All right, let's talk about, unfortunately, what has happened to you and your fiance. You guys have had to postpone your wedding. Trust me, I feel the pain. We're in the same boat. When was it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be April 11th, so that's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, something like that. I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Yeah, I know, I lost track.
So what was the ultimate decision for you guys behind postponing the wedding, and talk about how difficult it was for you and your fiance?
Well, to be completely honest, we didn't have a choice, right? So, at the end of the day, the decision was we don't want to have, she's got siblings, I have siblings. We don't want to have any animosity towards attending weddings and being like, man, I didn't get our dream day. So I think the biggest thing for us was we still want to have our dream wedding, whether it's, in the next couple months or, maybe we have to wait a year. But at the end of the day, I think we both deserve that special moment of being able to celebrate with our friends and family. So once we kind of heard that we couldn't have more than 10 people, we were like, hey, we're still getting married, but let's postpone the party. So it wasn't too hard of a decision. Obviously, it's frustrating. She's done so much planning, and obviously I just want to marry her. So it's hard in two different ways. But like you said, we're not the only ones going through it. So
are you guys going to go ahead and get married?
Yeah, we'll be legally married. We're gonna, we're not gonna make a big deal about it because we don't want to necessarily taint the wedding, but we also don't want to postpone a marriage. So we're gonna go ahead and get legally married, and then we'll celebrate with everybody later.
Talk about what those few moments were like when you ultimately found out that you guys were gonna have to push it back, and you're not necessarily going to get it at that time. Talk about the frustrations with that, especially for your fiance. She's got to figure out if vendors are available and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Well, New Orleans, the hard part, so the main thing is she's such a calm person that when I came, we woke up one morning and she was in the living room pretty upset. And so I kind of had a feeling that's what it was. But it was just kind of immediately going to plan B and trying to figure out how we were going to make it work. I want to say the hard part with New Orleans is that it's so hot in May, June, July that kind of takes those months away already. So many weddings are booked in the other months that it's going to be hard to find a vendor. But at the end of the day, if we have to do it on Friday, if we have to do it on Sunday, it's like we're still going to get married. And but I think the main thing was reassurance for her and making sure she knew that I still wanted to go through with having her dream wedding, not just signing the papers and saying we're married. So we're gonna make it happen as soon as we can.
Have you guys, you don't have to tell me the date, but have you guys set a new date, or you're just kind of waiting to see what you can figure out?
Well, like I said, July's tough. I don't think it would make no sense to do a July wedding in New Orleans. So, barring no changes to the season, we're hoping to have a bye week wedding. But the challenges that come with that is we don't even know our bye week yet. So, hopefully in a couple of weeks they'll announce the schedule and we can figure out how we're going to do it.
Yeah, that's tough. That's what I was going to say, is that obviously with your schedule, it's going to make it really difficult because you're pretty much out of commission for the entire fall and into the beginning of next year. So that's obviously, I'm sure, a fear of yours as well.
Yeah, I mean, every weekend's taken except for 1 week, and we don't know what week that is. So, but we'll figure that out. Hopefully we don't have to wait a full year, but we'll make it work.
Okay, so as soon as the schedules are released, you guys are going to hope to get married on that bye week.
That's the plan.
Is the plan.
We'll find somewhere we have to do an open backyard is the way to do it.
Okay, sounds good. One of the things that I did want to talk to you about, obviously the coronavirus is affecting a lot of people, but for you guys specifically with your head coach testing positive for the coronavirus, did that kind of make it feel like it hit closer to home for you?
I mean, that was definitely an eye-opener. I think the biggest thing is how hard it's hitting Louisiana as a whole. I think you just, at first it kind of turned into, I'm not going to change my lifestyle, but I'll be more careful. And then to me, the first time it hit me was, I think, just like the rest of America, when Tom Hanks got it, it was kind of like, holy cow, not Tom Hanks. So it's kind of like once you, unfortunately, Americans, we learn by failure almost. So I think seeing some of these bigger name people and, the NBA got hit with it. And I think that was the big eye opener for us, that it was kind of like, oh, wow, this is real. It's not the flu. I mean, this is killing people right now. So that was a big eye opener for us.
Are you nervous that football is really going to be affected, that the season is going to be affected?
I mean, of course. There's no end in sight right now. And so, OTAs have already been, pretty much canceled. They're postponed, but OTAs are only a couple weeks long as it is, and we're supposed to start in 3 weeks. So that right there is going to be affected. And when you can't, kind of get a head start on your upcoming season, that makes, executives, players, and coaches, that kind of makes it tough on those guys. So, hopefully we don't have to delay the start of the season or lose a game or two. But to sit here and say that I'm not a little concerned would be lying. So we'll see. Hopefully that curve comes and we can get back into normal life.
You've been a college athlete before, and there has been talks of potentially moving college football up to the summer, which would be crazy. What do you think about that if they were to do that? Is that a solution, do you think, rather than making it be affected in the fall?
I know that it would be really hot.
Especially in the South.
So my only concern with that is obviously there are some multi-sport athletes, and, at the end of the day, I think the worst thing when it comes to the NCAA is that you lose eligibility. And for those seniors or juniors to miss out on their last year in college football, I mean, that'd be devastating to me. I know that I had a hard enough time knowing it was my last game coming up. I couldn't imagine not knowing it was my last game. So, like these baseball players and basketball players who literally got pulled off the field and said, you're done. I couldn't imagine that feeling, having kind of not even knowing it hit me. So I think that would be the hardest part if they did somehow lose the season. But, like I said, we have no idea when this thing's going to end. And, if it's a matter of maybe losing a game or two, I hope that's as far as it goes. But, that's obviously a tough pill to swallow right now.
Hi, here are your 3 fish sandwiches. Have a supersonic day.
Thank you.
Is this Alaska pollock that we're eating?
Yes.
I know that Alaska is a very dangerous place.
Why?
First, the ostrich. Second, you mess with that ostrich.
It's Alaska, not Australia.
My man.
The fish sandwich, 100% Alaska pollock topped with creamy tartar sauce on a brioche bun. Only for a limited time at Sonic. See menu for details. For a limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins.
So honestly, I've been really trying to spread a lot more positivity on social media just because I think we all really need it right now. But this week has been very hard, if I'm being honest, because I see more and more people coming out there and saying they don't know that college football or even professional football could go on as normal this fall and winter. I'll be honest, it's a really, really, really daunting mindset for me to wrap my head around. That's hard for me to imagine. I don't have an opinion on it just yet. I think it's too soon to tell, but listening to Wil talk about how it is a possibility does make me a little bit nervous. I think it's something to keep our eye on. More and more things continue to change, but I think the most important lesson there is that we do continue to stay inside and stay safe, because the faster we do that, the better we do that, the more likely it is that we have football this fall. All right, guys, we will continue to bring you any athletes that you want to hear from. At least we hope. A lot of them are busy, weirdly enough, in this quarantine time. So if there's somebody in particular that you guys are interested in hearing from that maybe we could get on the podcast, I'd love to hear your suggestions. Go ahead and shoot us some messages. Maybe you want to see a living room tutorial from Alex Glaze. He's got a pull-up bar. Don't know if anybody knows that. Kind of just threw him under the bus. So any content that you guys are interested in, please let us know, because just because sports is stopped right now doesn't mean the 11 Alive sports team stops too.
The Look Alive podcast is sponsored by Sonic.